Well, thank you guys, everyone for joining. Most of you know me, so I'll skip the boring stuff. Welcome to Farming 101. So this is our January class of the month. We are here presenting with my good friend, realtor partner, and also I would definitely consider him a huge influence and a mentor in my life as well. Michael Ahumada from Remax Select One. He's based out of the city of San Juan Capistrano, where I used to be a resident of before I moved to the IE to Chino. Mike, I basically asked him, I was like, hey man, like, do you think that you can help us with some knowledge, for one of my classes, I'm like, and I told Mike, I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna gain from it, brother. But Mike actually was very proactive and excited to give this because of course the majority of you guys are agents. This is not a life insurance sales pitch at the end, as me and Mike always like to say. This is a very virtuous
No
thing.
timeshares being sold.
No
Yeah.
time shares will be sold to you at the end of this conversation and presentation. So there's no hook, just simple knowledge. So Mike, thank you for joining, brother. And just kind of lead me, Mike, whenever you want the next slides, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Chris. I'm going to give some tidbits of my business and some insight on myself. And one of the reasons why I do that is there were some very good people to me that they had nothing to gain when I started. And I just bugged them incessantly asking questions and whether they geofarmed or did this or that. But it's just kind of a pay it forward thing. So, as we start here, yeah, perfect. Before I kind of get going on anything, I just want to say I'm not the biggest producer you've ever seen. I'm not getting on YouTube and saying I do 400 deals a year, you know, overly inflating my numbers and lying about things. I'm consistent in what I do. I'm in my 17th year. It served me well. But I would say I'm a little bit more of a blue collar farmer, middle of the road, average guy. But you can certainly look up my stats on the MLS and see what I've done over the years. Also, something I want to touch on is that if you're looking for a balanced life, real estate's not for you, especially farming. So I'm not going to lie, it's a lot of work, but it personally has brought me wealth, consistent business, and I enjoy what I do. I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. But again, it's hard work, and if you want the balanced life, you're on the wrong video presentation. Just going to be upfront about that. But anyway, so I'm born and raised in San Juan Capistrano. Very fortunate in the Beach Cities area, South Orange County. I'm 42, going to be 43 Saturday. I'm in my 17th year of real estate, and I've been with Remax Select One for most of my career, which is kind of a key point in my farming. But I really like the company. I'm not trying to pitch you on the company. There's a lot of great companies out there. Every company has, for whatever your MO is, there's a fit for you. I don't think there's any right or wrong answer or company. It's just what works for you. So I just want to be clear about that. Married to my wife of 14 years, two boys, Reef and Kai, 10 and 13, and our 2.5-year-old Swiss Mountain Dog, Diego. I'm kind of a bro, so I ride dirt bikes, I surf. We spend a lot of time at our properties out at the Colorado River. And I love Mexican food. Chris knows that because I center a lot of my events around Mexican food. So
And I
you can go
and
ahead.
I wanted to comment that when Mike and I first got on here at like 11:45, I really appreciated that his authenticity because how he's dressed, it is on brand for who he is. So I appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah,
And
yeah. And by
um,
all means, as I go through this, I welcome any of you guys to stop me,
yeah,
ask a question, have something to say. I want it to be interactive. I'm
yeah.
very I'll be transparent with like 90% of what I do. The other 10%, the other 5%, you have to call me directly, and the other 5%, I'm not going to tell you guys. So
Yeah, and I wanted to, I forgot to lay out the ground rules. Like anybody who wants to chip in, I'll be monitoring the chat. as well. So anybody wants to chip in, just like raise your hand or write something in the chat, and I'll be quick to respond. But we welcome interaction and questions throughout. There are some people in here that I have not seen before, so welcome, guys. My name is Chris Pacheco. So I'm a mortgage lender based out of the city of Chino. I recently just made a move to American Pacific Mortgage, and I run a branch called the Mortgage Phoenix Group. Marine veteran. So I would say 60% of my deals are VA loans. I specialize with self-employed borrowers. Hablamos español también. So I'm also the president of the Veterans Association of Real Estate Professionals out in Orange County. And, I volunteer with a lot of veteran organizations. And we actually do a lot of philanthropy within the veteran realms of whether it's homelessness, mental health, and we support organizations that basically help with veteran success. So that's just a little tidbit on me, and you guys can feel free to reach out to me anytime. But we'll go ahead, Mike.
All right, so I'm going to dive in here. I'm going to read off a lot of lines, then I'll expand a little bit. So again, so my farm is roughly 2,500 homes in San Juan Capistrano. San Juan's, there's about 10,000 homes in the city in total. I farm what we call the Del Obispo area, and that's the west end of town. So the northern border is Laguna Niguel, the western border is Dana Point, and my farm's about 5 minutes from the beach, from Doheny State Beach. Within my farm, there's about 13 actual tracts, and then some, old areas of just miscellaneous homes and streets thrown in there. My typical range of value is low 400s on some entry-level condos or investor specials that I call them, to about 2 million. And in my farm, there's condos, single families, multi-units, and custom estates as well. I don't particularly go after the big estates. They get a little bit of my marketing, and I have networking within there, and I've listed and done some. But to be very upfront, I don't really go after it. That's a different animal. There's a number of agents that are really happy to overextend themselves and spend themselves into the ground going after those listings, and I let them fight with their egos on them. So I just kind of take what I get on that. But my bread and butter is 400, about 2 million. With the luxury estates, they're their own animal. They're have to have, it's their own approach, and it's a big spend. I mean, if you one of the estates, when I'm saying like 4 million plus, up to the sky's the limit by me. I mean, you could be $10,000 all in on a 6-month listing term. So that's just for some people, they're successful with it. God bless them. It's just not my MO. My approach is both macro and micro to the farm. And I will get into that as we go along. So you can go to the next one, Chris. So choosing a farm. And again, some of the things I'm going to talk about, you can Google, and people are going to talk about the same things about the farm, but I really want to give a real world approach to it. Again, I have no reason to lie. I'm not looking for YouTube subscribers or anything like that. But anyways, if someone's got about a 10% market share in the neighborhood or area that you're looking to farm, my opinion, don't waste your money there. I get a minimum 10% market share, and I have a spend. I'm not going to lie. You don't want to throw good money after bad. I mean, is there the possibility that you can be the alternative? Not everyone's going to like someone in a farm. Like, not everybody likes me in my farm for whatever reason. They may want an alternative. Yeah, you might get some deals, but I just really think about looking to a place that's more untouched. And that's what happened when I did start my farm. Ultimately, you want to get to 1,000 homes minimum. Now, when you start, when I was a new agent, I started with a 150 home farm tract. And it's actually the tract I ended up buying my house from, the first home I ever listed for lease in there from the owner. And then that tract, it's about 150 homes. That tract alone, I've done over 65 sales and leases in that over the years. But I started small and worked my way up. And that was because a couple reasons. Number one, I wanted to give it a good effort, be thorough when I started. And also, I was a young new agent and I didn't want to overextend myself and financially drive myself into the ground. So I just expanded my farm as it was economically feasible for me. To the point where it's at, I'm pretty content where it's at. I could add some more avenues and things. I may, but what I have going right now, I'm really happy.
Huh? Just bring it home after that.
Oh, let me,
Yeah,
let me.
someone get this car and move it.
Okay, go ahead. So
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah, no worries. Again, obviously this is kind of a logical thing. Keep the tracks in the same city or section of town. Really have set geographical markers. I mean, for my area, there's hills and creeks and things like that, and that is an important thing because it comes down to when I get to the aspect of marketing with signs and open house signs. And the preference is to farm the area surrounding where you live. Now, it may not make total sense for everybody, but if it remotely makes sense, that's a huge important thing. You go to the next. Now, again, back to choosing a farm. I'm born and raised in my farm. That gives me a leg up and a huge advantage. And my daily life is my farm. I mean, as you can see right here, my baking, shopping, social interaction, to the point that when I take my youngest son to school, he goes to Del Obispo school, I purposely park in the neighborhood adjacent, which is one of my farming neighborhoods. I could park closer. I park there because I get to walk with more parents and talk to them on the way into school. And as stupid as it sounds, like I've had referrals and more deals and more awareness of my farming, or that gives them a chance to talk to me. I mean, literally my listings are on our walking path. My signs are out as we're walking to class, and it just stimulates conversation. So but my whole life revolves around it, and my roots run fairly deep in the area. My parents have been in San Juan since the early 70s. My wife, though, she's from a longtime Hispanic family. They've been there since 1910. So I just really play off of that as well. Yeah. Now, focus on people that are similar demographic to you. I'm not saying religion or race or anything like that. What I'm saying is if you live in an $800,000 townhouse, appealing to people with $10 million homes is probably going to be tough. You can work your way up to that if that's your MO. But you got to find what the best fit is. For me, like I said, I'm a bro. So the predominant people in my farm, I say they're surfers. They like to mountain bike, live active lifestyle. Just all kinds of really cool people, and I get along great with them. So that's been a very important thing, and that's part of this is how I dress in normal life if I was not a realtor. But if you come to an open house, this is typically how I'm going to be dressed. However, learn to amend yourself to work with people of all backgrounds and walks of life, but to just be as honest with yourself who you are, because people are extremely intuitive. People with a lot of money will see through it. But on the flip side, if you're too pretentious and you're trying to get a listing in my area that's a $400,000 condo, some of those people may not list with you because they're maybe a little put off. So you just got to find what works with you and your area.
And I think the big thing that you put there is the authenticity piece, right? So even if you do come across like some of those demographics, just be your most authentic self, I think is always a rule of thumb. So
Yeah,
absolutely.
100%.
And I've been luckily, and for everyone listening, I've actually been on listing appointments with Mike, and I was shocked when he was wearing Vans when he came to these people's houses, and we left with a contract. So it was and back then I was like, before I started doing all the spiritual psychology stuff and like being in your authentic self and the energy that emits, people feel that, so that's been a very true statement, and I'm glad you added that bullet point there, Mike.
Well, and on to that as well, like with Chris, I can probably count on one hand how many times I've seen him not in a suit. So that's Chris's MO. He pulls it off, he works it, and that's his flow. So that's authentic to Chris. He's not faking anyone out by dressing like that. So he knows who he is.
Oh, thanks for the validation,
Yeah.
brother.
So now price point within the farm. I'm a huge proponent of having a diverse price range. You're hedged against market changes and whatnot. I mean, I started in '07. That was the Wild West. For some of you were probably there, of real estate, and things changed overnight. And there were some areas, realms like the high end. Well, at that time, we considered high end probably over 1.5. You couldn't give those homes away. It was crazy. But the people that had the farms with the $450,000 3-bed, 2-bath house at the time were kicking butt. I mean, I know agents that murdered it during the downturn. So, and I did fairly well myself. So, but keep the price range diversified. Don't throw your eggs in the one basket. Something to note: some neighborhoods, in like for instance, in my farm, some neighborhoods are heavily absentee owner, and some are heavily owner occupant. You know, I love absentee owners. I think they're like they've been an amazing thing into my farming. I've done a ton of deals from them, and I would say proportionately, their homes are listed and sold more than owner occupants if you look on a proportional basis of it. Um, but you know, if there's low end condos in your farm or near it, add them. You're going to meet probably the best investors that you possibly could. Some of my biggest you know, the biggest catches of people that I've done business with were from me listing at the time condos for 155,000 or 200,000 in the heavily renter areas, and I've gone on to do tons of deals with them. One example is I sold a condo on Paseo, Carolina, in Casa de Capistrano in San Juan, and I sold it to a guy for $262,000. He had acquired up. That was the last one he bought in his acquisition, but he owns 27 condos between that and one other neighborhood in San Juan. He's become a very good client of mine. So just really keep that in mind. Low end condos are awesome. Good turnover. You're going to meet some incredible investors, some just big time people. And then yeah, so just hit the absentees. That's the big thing. Now, lease listings or leases in general, you know, a lot of people snub their nose at them. I've always embraced them. And from day one in the industry, I've done a lot of lease listings. I mean, if you look me up right now, I'm working some, I've got a lot more coming. In the early days in '07, '08, '09, I used to get the penny saver. You get it, I think it was like Sunday and Thursday it came out. And I would cold call everybody that had homes for lease in there. At that time, some people were losing their homes. So some of those I cold call them. First, I ask them if they're going to sell. And usually they weren't. Then I'd say, fine, how would you like some assistance in leasing your property out? And to this day, I have clients, I have done probably millions in commissions from clients that I can date all the way back to calling the penny saver that started with me, leasing out their $1,200 a month studio in Dana Point or not even into my farm, just in general. So just leases can turn into really good things. And again, they help position you in your farm. Number one, it keeps your sign out in your farm. That's the name of the game. You want your sign out, whether it's a home for sale, home for lease, or a garage sale or an event you're putting on, just consistently out there. I put the big sign in the ground, overhanging sign, says area specialist Mike Ahumada for leases. Always. I still do the flyers, and I always do just listed, just leased cards. I treat my leases like it's a listing for sale, always. So
And
they're always mailed.
Mike, I wanted to
Yeah.
interject as well, because I know one of the best things I appreciate from you every time we talk, and for those of you listening, we're always talking about marketing and branding and things of that nature. And for me, it's kind of the same way. We have some lenders here on the call as well. Not everybody turns into a buyer, just like how for a realtor, not everybody turns into a seller or a buyer as well. But being able to add people to your database and also being able to like market that and like leverage that in some way. I'm out here in Las Vegas right now on a mortgage retreat with my mortgage coach, Scott Groves. And he talks about it in his book, just like being able to add like just another contact, just databasing. Now, everyone on here, I think, is on here because of my text and my emails that I send out. So in a way that you're kind of doing the same thing, because I know you do put out a lot of content. And I think you do put out as well on your social media, Mike, the when you do lease the properties as well, correct?
Always. Yeah.
Yeah,
Just listed for lease and just leased. And I celebrate it just the same. So
that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
100%. And so some of those tenants will turn into buyers. Some of those landlords will turn into sellers or more, or they will be buyers for more properties, which I've done. And so it's or some of those tenants will be referral sources. You'll get I've been referred other listings and other buyers from people who are just simply tenants. So like Chris said, it's an opportunity to add to your database and treat them well, treat them like a seller or buyer. Also property management. I do some management in my farm. I have kind of a hybrid style on my management. I won't go into detail on that, but with the management, you make a few bucks a month and you really show the landlord how hard you'll work for them. Believe me, when they're ready to sell, you're the one they're going to call. So you guys can hit me up directly. I can give you more management ideas and kind of what I do on that. Again, everyone here, you're welcome to call me, text me, email me, whatever you want to do, and I'll give you as much info as I can. Unless you live in the Beach Cities area, then you're going to get a zero response from me. So.
Mike, I wanted to just that's an interesting point, because I don't think we've ever talked about this. Do you feel like managing properties does give you, this might be a cliche question, but does give you
Yeah.
some ability, like, within people? Like, do you use that as part of your pitch when you're talking to people? Oh, I manage these.
Absolutely. So for instance, like I still cold call absentee owners. I still do within my farm or touch base. And when I do a cold call an absentee owner, it always starts like this. I kind of use the old Mike Curry script, ring, ring, hello. Hey, this is Mike Ahumada with Remax Real Estate. Just wondering what your thoughts were on selling. And they'll say, I have no plans to sell. And I say, okay, great. Look, I'm here for the long haul. So I also do leases and I do management. If you have a vacancy, call me. I'd be absolutely happy to handle the lease for you. If you just want the lease, great. And if you want management, I'll do it. But I want to be your source for real estate here in San Juan. And even if you don't need any of that help, call me. I'm happy to give you my whole contractor database, any referrals you want. Just understand, I live right down the street. I'm invested in your neighborhood, in our area, and I want to be here to help you. So that's really how my script goes when I talk to them. And again, I with farming, you're just trying to plant seeds all the time. I mean, more so than any other realm of prospecting. Some seeds are going to harvest in 10 years, 1 year, 2 years, whatever, but you're just planting the seeds.
Perfect.
We can, yeah, cool. So marketing strategies. Now let's talk mailers. So I'm going to give you some basic parameters of what I do. So on the 15th of every month, my whole owner occupied segment of my farm gets an EDDM, every door direct mailer. And I send out the comps for the previous month. So this January 15th, everyone got all the sales in San Juan for December. I religiously send that out the 15th of every month. And here's what it looks like. I don't know if you can see it on there. So you can see I list them right there. And then I do it just as an MLS. I do it by area and send them out and update it all the time. That's a consistent thing I do. I also mail that to the absentee owners in my farm as well. Now, let's see here. I just have a hard time seeing a little bit to the right. The thing's covering it here. So anyway, I also cold call the absentee owners. Like I said, I do that twice a year at a minimum. It's kind of a rolling thing. So it's not like I sit down in January and cold call everyone and then I cold call everyone again in July. I just keep track of when I touch base and then I'll make note and then follow up with them again 6 months later. But it's every week I make a stab at it to stay in touch. I always mail the absentee owners. Again, they're going to be one of your best sources in your geo farm. They get, just listed, just sold mailers always on every listing. I don't care how busy you are. I don't care if you have 10 escrows in the pipeline, you got 300,000 in commissions ready to close and things are just flowing. It does get hard to stay up with the just listed and just solds when things are cranking. but stay on it. It pays dividends to do it. And I know it's everyone knows to do that, but if you do it religiously, it makes a difference. So another thing I do, I don't think a lot of people do, but I do a biannual market report. But like I said, I do things on a macro level and a micro level. So on the macro level, everyone, my EDDM, the whole farm across the board gets that comps list. If I do a taco night, which I'll get to, the whole farm gets it. When I do my movie night for the city, the whole farm gets it. But then when you shake it down, I do my 13 tracks. They're treated as a separate business, all 13 of them. So one of the things I do is a biannual market report. So what I do is I go out and I take a photo. If it's my listing that sold, I use my photo. If I didn't sell the listing, I snap a photo of the house. And it can be tough because you're trying to go by when there's no one out front, no cars, this, that. But all 13 neighborhoods, I do that. And I make a card that looks like this. So I put the sold banner on it, Square Street, 3-bed, 2-bath, 1,100 square feet for, $800,000, let's say. And I put it on here. So that specific paper twice a year gets the year dates. Now, some people may think that I'm the one that sold them all. I'm not trying to mislead them like that, but I just am a firm believer in having. A lot of people are very visual. You can send them line item stuff and it just goes right over their head. But when you show them a picture of the house and the red banner, it pops. So I'm kind of trying to appeal to a different mindset of people. So that report's been good. I mail that one the first week of July, it's in the mail, and the first week of January, it's in the mail. That same week, I also door drop that card. I staple rubber bands and door drop it. So they get a 1-2 punch in 1 week with the same card, and the absentees get it.
And Mike,
Go ahead.
we have a question from Veronica. Veronica,
Yeah.
go ahead with your question.
Hey, Mike, just a quick question. And when
Yeah.
you do your mailers of just listed, just sold, I know you farm in a particular neighborhood, but
Yeah.
let's say you sold something like, the next city down. Do you do the just listed, just sold to your neighborhood?
No.
Or-
I used to, so you're saying like outside the city or outside the neighborhood?
Outside your farming, like say you sold something in Irvine, let's say for example,
Uh-huh.
do you do a just listed, just sold in that particular neighborhood that you just sold the house?
So like the Irvine neighborhood send a
Yeah.
just listed, just sold. Yeah, I do sometimes I don't. Like, I mean, if I think it's a good thing, and if it's within your budget, go for it. But my finances are all aimed towards reinvesting into my farm, not so much shotgunning outside of it. That's just me personally. I'm not saying it's right or wrong. It's just what I do.
Okay, I just wanted to get it, but would you add that particular sale onto your farm, saying that, hey, you also work another area as well?
No, I don't. I tried it early on, but a lot of people just didn't care enough about it. And they truly only care about what's going on in the farm.
Got it. Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, good question. Yeah.
Veronica, what area are you based out of, Veronica?
I'm out here in Upland.
Okay.
I deal with Chris, I know your mom, Ruth.
Oh, okay.
She invited me over yesterday.
The reason why we're all here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, thank you, guys. Thank you, Veronica. All right.
Mike, can I ask a question really quick? You did
Sure.
right before her question, you said you mail and then you door drop. Is that the same piece at the same?
Yes. Yep.
Like,
Because some people are going to notice it in the mail, some are going to throw it away. Some people are going to notice it on the door, and some people are going to throw it. The husband will throw it away. The wife never saw it. Right. So
yes.
I'm just known to give everyone a 1-2 punch in my farm. And that's why I do. So for that particular piece, not everything I send out.
Just
the
2 market reports.
The biannual report.
Got it.
Okay. So yeah, we'll call biannual market report. And then, so all my events, and I'll get a little more into them, but I do, like I said, a movie night for the entire city. I do the taco nights for the entire city. I do Toys for Tots drives, etc. My events are always mailed twice leading up to them within 30 days. And I do a door drop. So they get hit 3 times in 30 days leading up to that event, always. So day 30, I send a mailer out. about a week and a half later, do a door drop, and then about a little over a week out from the event, I'd send another mail.
And I just wanted to comment because I've actually like hosted these events with Mike, and it's incredible. Like I don't remember, we've done what, 10, 15 events, Mike?
I've lost track.
Yeah, and it's just like none of them have been flops. I have personally gone on when I lived in San Juan, done door drops with Mike for the events. I can just remember the 3 years we did the movie night and how much that has grown over the years. And then the taco night, which we literally probably slammed Ricardo that night with free tacos, and people were literally showing up saying, "What's like the catch? You guys are just giving free tacos?" And Mike would joke with them saying that there would be what was a timeshare
Timeshare
sale
seminar. Yeah.
Afterwards. And no, people were just like surprised. So it's always this like giving back to your neighborhood, giving back to your community. And it's always just really great for rebranding. I wanted to also comment here, or we had a question from Annie. She said, I just moved to my farm. What's the best thing to introduce yourself to the farm that you're also a neighbor now? What would you say?
I mean, hire a taco cart like I've done at my house, Chris. You come over, hire a taco cart out front or in your house, and just say, "Hey, I'm new to the neighborhood. Love to have everybody." Just send a mail around to say I'm new here and I'd love to meet you, and just come on by. That's all. I mean, my big thing and is with your farm. I reinvest a lot of money back into it, but I spend money on mailers and marketing. And sure, we all have to do a certain amount of ego mailing, right? But a lot of what I do in my farm, the community gets something back, right? Why should I expect to have them pay me top dollar commissions if there's nothing in it back for them? That's why we do the movies, the tacos, this and that. And there's, in the grand scheme of things, it's small things that impacts their life, but it is a positive impact and they're getting back. And it's just good vibes.
And Mike, I wanted to comment um, also that you're not a veteran.
Right.
I would consider yourself a big patriot of this country. And as a lot of you guys know, I do a lot of veteran marketing, and I'm very involved with that organization and philanthropy. Mike, and this can be an idea for your guys' local markets as well. Mike has actually been the one that introduced me to the veteran community, key leaders within the San Juan Capistrano. And Mike has actually been like the one that's hosted all the patriotic events. Example being on Veterans Day, he hosts the lunch for their flag raising ceremonies. So just simple stuff like that, where there's going to be a lot of people, and it's such a great representation of your brand. And usually they're giving you shout outs and things of that nature. But what else? What other groups, Mike? Rotary?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm involved. Well, I'm going to get to that part, but I mean, in general, yeah, American Legion, who I've sponsored. I do stuff with Rotary, Doheny State Beach Foundation. I'm the vice president on the board of directors. I'm also on the board of directors of the Doheny Longboard Surfing Association. I sponsor every event for the city of San Juan. I sponsor every event for the missions, the historic mission. That's kind of more of a high end sponsorship that I do with them, and that does appeal to a higher end clientele. I think I have, I do Toys for Tots. I've done that 14 years. I do a toy drive that's been really successful. There's a lot more, to it, but yeah, I mean, with the number one, I'm happy to help the veterans. But I sponsor their food, and then we do the flag drops, which I'll get to shortly on that. So.
All right, for skipping ahead.
You have to be involved in the community. I mean, you can't, anyone that thinks they can run a farm, just send some mailers out, sit back, and then you're just going to collect leads. It doesn't work. Everything has to feed on in and of itself. And there's a lot of things you do in there that you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? But this little thing feeding here is going to help this feed, and all work together. So now let's talk about physical door drops, actually getting out there. I do door drops, and I personally do probably 80% of them. Number one, it helps me stay in shape. But number two, being out there in the community, walking with a stack of them, hanging them on the door. Hey, Mr. Burns, how you doing? Good to see you again. Whatever. That's been a really great thing. So that market report that I held up for you earlier, the line item one right here, I I mail it every month, but 4 times a year, so quarterly, I door drop it in my farm also. So again, they kind of get a double hit on it. Also, my spring and fall garage sales that I put on, I do door drops for those. The American flags have become a really important thing. I put an American flag with it, and I was going to bring one, and I forgot. I have a card, and it has my photo, and it says, honoring those who serve. Mike Ahumada, Remax Select One. Little card goes on it, and I do the good size flags. I do every single home in my farm. I mean it, and I do, in addition to my farm, I do other neighborhoods. It takes me. I start the Sunday before Memorial Day. Go Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It takes me 4 days, and Chris has helped me do it, to get out there and put the flags in the ground. I have my niece and nephews and kids and everyone. We all work together. And when people see you walking through a neighborhood holding a stack of flags and putting them in, they're pretty blown away. And again, I know it's an old school realtor thing, but to implement it and actually do it, and do it on that scale, I'm to the point where I do probably in total, I did about 5,000 homes last year. And I work with the city. I'm the one that does the flags. When you get off Ortega Highway, it's flagged all the way into the city, into the old mission, down to the Veterans Park. And I'm the one that supplies the flags and organizes that. And I brought in the American Legion to work with me to do it, but with the city. So it's really turned into something great. You're going to get a few haters. There's a few anti-American people out there, or there's just some crotchety people. But for the most part, I'm kind of known as the flag guy. And it's pretty amazing when you go back by to do a door drop, or you drive through a neighborhood and you see your flag there 9 months later, still sitting there. Pretty cool. So,
Mike, if you don't mind me sharing two things here of what I've seen actually, like walking the neighborhoods on your garage sales, and then also going back to the taco night, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
So Mike invited me one time, and he's like, "Hey man, yeah, just hosting a garage sale in his neighborhood, in his farm." And so we were walking around, and Mike he brought donuts and coffee, and he's just like giving donuts and coffee to people who have their stuff out. And it's just like, for me, I never seen something like that. I'm like, man, you're hosting a garage sale, and for people to actually see the response, because there's no registration, or they're not calling Mike necessarily to like sign up for an event. They just, you know that the message got reached out to them if their stuff is out on their driveway. And I can't, and I think there was like, because obviously I'm not a realtor, so that was my first experience of seeing that. I was blown away. And Mike actually like talking with the homeowners, and how many times, Mike, that they invited us into the house to go check it out. And it's just always like real estate questions. There's past clients there as well. There's friends,
just friends,
There's just friends. There's homeowners who didn't use you either, that are now like talking about like entering their houses. And just, I always just thought to Mike, I was like, damn, Mike, like some of these people met you for the first time, and they're letting you in their house, just like that, just the trust factor that has to happen with that. And it's just something as simple as putting a sign, doing marketing for a garage sale, and some coffee and donuts that are giving you some enterprise level conversations.
But it's also the consistency of it. So they've come to expect it, but
Right.
I market the crap out of it leading up to it, pardon my French, but it's because I've consistently done it for years and years and years and years. And so, again, you're going to have a few haters. There's some people that, I hate garage sales, and they'll call you and say, stop doing it in my neighborhood. Well, there's nothing you can do about it. You're not breaking any rules. So expect that, it's the nature of the beast. But again, you're doing a service to them, so yeah.
I also wanted to mention on the taco nights, how you hired the summer kids, the kids that joined the summer programs. We literally had kids, and we were giving them some, a few bones, some what did we get them? Some tacos afterwards.
I bought them soda, and I think I even gave them some cash too. So
oh yeah, yep. And you got some Instagram followers from that
Totally.
too.
Yeah.
So we had this whole neighborhood. You just see all these little kids going around having a great time, and it just kind of like it was just incredible to see how excited they were
Yeah.
uh, to do it. And then obviously the program director was so appreciative of it because it kind of gave them an exposure to like this is what marketing looks like for an event, and so just wanted to mention that if you guys want to get in touch with your local child development center. I'm not proponing underage labor here, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's always those types of groups looking to get involved with the community.
Yeah.
Let me go next slide here.
Yeah. No worries. So again, like I said, on the door drops, 80% are done by me, and that's by design. Like I said, to show your face in the neighborhood, they shows the neighbors you're in the trenches, that you work hard, keeps your costs down. And you're going to stumble on leads in spite of yourself. You could be the worst realtor in the world, but if you just simply regularly walk the neighborhoods doing door drops, you're going to do a certain amount of deals in spite of yourself. The other thing is you're going to get the pulse on the neighborhood. Hey, oh, there's a dumpster out in front of that house. Oh man, what's going on? One of the trustees is there cleaning it up. Oh, did Mrs. Smith die? Yeah, okay. Do you guys need a realtor? I'm being very simplistic about it, but I mean, I have literally stumbled on situations just simply walking through. And that's the thing. With your farm, you want to be not just mailing it, not just doing events, but you literally want to be constantly going through there. If you have a dog, go walk your dog through your farm regularly. I mean, there's nothing better than you can do to, I would say get a dog would be one of the best things to do if you want to be a farming agent. My dog, Diego, has brought me more deals from talking to the neighbors or getting the gossip on who's the next to sell, so that's been a really good thing. So,
And
yeah.
Mike, I also want to bring up a memory of because obviously you guys know San Juan Capistrano, very nice city, but there are some gang, very very minimal gang activity in the local area. Mike literally told this guy that he got a listing from, like, oh, like yeah, this certain area, this is where these guys hang out, this is where that. So I mean,
Well, in a certain way,
yeah,
in a
yeah,
certain way,
and
yeah.
it was yeah, and they were the ones that brought it up. It wasn't part of the listing presentation, but what I was impressed by, Mike, was the amount of posts that you had on
Oh,
that
that was the
neighborhood.
guy with the triplex, right? When he came
Correct.
with me. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
and it was just like, hey, these are just some things to watch out for. But they brought it up, but to have that type of intel, I mean, I don't know of a lot of people who would even have that or who even care to have that. And you were talking, the memory of that got brought up when you were talking about like you have a pulse on the market. There's a dumpster here that's knocked
Yeah.
over, things
Oh,
of
yeah.
that nature, graffiti in a
Or
certain area.
yeah, or where the flood zones are, where there's areas where there's geological problems. You want to be the source, because when you go on that listing appointment, any agent can go in and this and that. But I mean, I can tell them, hey, that house 4 doors down had slide issues. They had to put caissons on it. Just understand that once we get going in the escrow, that's something we're going to, number one, need to disclose 100%. And number two, it could become a little bit of an issue for the buyer. So just having those just little quirks and things that, being the expert, but it gives you a lot of confidence when you go in on a listing appointment as the farming agent, predominant person. You have a lot of confidence. You're never going to win 100% of the time, and I'm going to get to that, but you have a leg up for sure. So now, actual door knocking. I did a lot of door knocking in the early days of my farm. A lot of it was because of economic reasons. I just didn't have the money to spend on tons of mailing. But the other thing was my third day in the business, I was out door knocking with the Mike Ferry script. And actually, I didn't get the listings on my farm, but the first month in the business, I knocked on one door and got 4 listings from it. 3 were in Temecula, 1 was in San Juan. And so, I'm a huge proponent of door knocking, but if you're doing it around your farm, you don't want to just like hard sell everyone. There's a different technique to it and a conversation to be had, and it's a very softer, longer outlook type conversation. So I would say on the geo farm, door knock once a year, casual conversation, don't hard sell, and always have an item of value. Again, for instance, like a great thing to door knock around is my taco night. Hey, Mrs. Smith, Mike Ahumada here again. How you doing? Great. Just dropping off my card for the taco night coming out. Hope you can make it out. And then, did you have any questions on the market? No, Mike, we're good. Still thinking 3 years from now. Okay, great. So you're not there to sell them. You're actually there giving them something. That's how I like to really do my door knocking these days in my geo farm.
Perfect.
So let's talk a little more specific on the garage sales. And again, it's an old tactic, but they work, but you have to be consistent. I do them spring and fall. All 13 neighborhoods I do the garage sales in. Like I said, I do a mailer 30 days out, a door drop between that, or mail 30 days out, 12 days out, and door drop on day 19. I also do on 7 days prior to the garage sale.
No, it's okay.
7 days prior to the garage sale, I put the banner or sign out front of the neighborhood, letting everyone know. And then the day of the garage sale, I have basically open house style signs, but they say instead of open house, garage sale. I have those directional arrows up at all the corners that I do by 5:30 in the morning, because you're going to have buyers coming at 6 to buy stuff from people. I treat it like an open house. I also have slow down signs in the neighborhood for the kids. And it's just more chance to market your name. And it gets crazy when I have multiple open houses going on listings and garage sales on the same weekend. I mean, the signs are like this everywhere. It's funny, but so what I do is I stretch it out over 6 weekends. Okay. So I do like those 13 neighborhoods. I do 2 neighborhoods per weekend on average. So for 6 weekends, they just keep getting blasted by my garage sale signs, to the point where they think it's just open house signs. They think I've got even more deals than I have going. So people comment on, wow, you're really active, you're really busy. And I say, yeah, I am. I'm here to work for you.
And Mike,
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite memories too was when you literally made a sign for that specific address. And
it's because I had 2 listings in the same neighborhood at the same time, and I had multiple open houses going. Yeah, exactly.
And it was literally like this way and another one this way, right?
Yeah.
And I saw the covered up envy of the buyer's agents coming into
Yeah, they weren't stoked.
There are you have two listings here.
Yeah.
But yeah, the consistency is like, out of this world. But I got another question here from Annie. She said, when's the best time to host a taco cart? Taco Tuesday or Friday in your past experience?
For her house, you mean?
Yeah, for the I think she's talking about the house. And just so Annie, we've hosted taco nights at a restaurant, at a local Mexican restaurant. I don't know if we have a slide for that here, Mike. But
and I couldn't. Oh no, I do. Hold on.
Oh, perfect. So check
So
that
that's
out.
what the card, and that's when Chris was helping me out, not financially, just doing legwork. Just FYI, I don't try to bleed them to death. We want all our affiliates to be successful, right? But I've done tacos at my house. I've hired the taco guy at my house, and the taco guy I have was a tenant in a listing I sold in my farm, and I was able to keep him in the condo to the new investor owner that I sold to, who I met from selling another listing in my farm previously. So it all kind of works with itself. But I would say either I really like when I did the ones at Ricardo's place, I purposely did them on Thursdays. And so when that restaurant, I did Thursday from 3 to 9 o'clock. But if you do it at your house, I would say a Thursday or a Saturday. Fridays are tough because I feel like everyone's like leaving town or they're leaving work and running out somewhere. So I'd say a Thursday or a Saturday.
Okay. And I'm gonna keep punching here on the slides, brother.
Yeah. Can you go back to the previous slide? I just want to make sure I did everything. So yeah, the important thing though, those directional signs, 5:30 a.m. on the day of the garage sale, but also for open houses. Let me just touch on this. When I do my open houses, even though my open house may not start till 11, 12, or 1, I have those signs up at 7 o'clock in the morning on the corners. I just don't put the signs in front of the house. That's free time to market yourself. So that's free marketing of them sitting out all day. But there's something I'm very adamant about that does irritate me, is I hate it when agents, like, let's say they're going to do a Saturday, Sunday open house. They put the open house signs out Friday and leave them through Sunday. We have to be on good terms with the cities that we're working in. Always pick up your signs when you're done with your open house, though. Don't leave them overnight, because that really irritates residents and the city. I'm fine with leaving them out during the day, but always pull them at night. Don't be one of those agents that just leaves them through the entire weekend. I just think that's really trashy, in my opinion. On to the next one. Yep. So garage sales again. I walk with the donuts. I keep the conversation very casual. I don't hard sell. My dress code is usually I wear like running shoes, shorts, a golf shirt, and a hat, and just smile and be positive. That's it. Very simple. And I always start walking with donuts at 8 o'clock. I like to let everyone be set up by 8 o'clock to do that. Open houses, we kind of touched on this, but I don't care how good or bad your listing is. I don't care if it's a hoarder house, always do the broker previews, always, because it's just another chance to have your signs out there and push it. I've had buyers come into the broker previews and we've done deals, and neighbors. Obviously, the open house, as I already said, signs out at 7. Don't oversign. So yeah, I have signs on the corners strategically, but don't be one of those agents that puts like 4 signs out with twirly birds on it and, you know, confetti and whatever. And I'm just saying that sarcastically. Just put a nice looking sign on the corners, know where you put them, know your spots, but don't overdo it. Again, we're balancing with city sign laws. We don't want to draw too much attention, but be consistent where they go. And just always do as many open houses in your farm as possible. I mean, I'll give you an example. I have a listing that was a thorn in my side this year. I listed it in July. I didn't get it closed until November 30th. I did open houses on that thing every single weekend for the exception of like 3 weekends, to the point where I was just over it. But the house was kind of a dog. It was priced too high. But the neighbors saw how hard I worked to get that thing sold. And I taught every neighbor came in, and at the end, I got a really good price on it. And they couldn't believe I got the price I did. And I said, I work until the job's done. I work hard. So you're always on stage. You're always showing. So, you know, I showed them that I don't give up. And that was very important to me.
I think you put down there, do as many open houses as you can in your farm.
Always. Always.
Yeah.
Your family may not like it, but your pocketbook will. Now, marketing strategies with the open houses, again, you know, you meet the neighbors. You know, some people go high end with like charcuteries and cheese boards and all this. That's great if that's your thing. I'm very simple, and this is even up to $2 million. I just provide waters. I do chips, popcorn, some things of candy out there, make it look nice. You know, the kids that walk in, they're happy to eat those and make crumbs all over the house for you. And I just put on calm music. Like I love Spanish flamingo guitar stuff, so I usually put on Venice or Gypsy Kings. Or if it's a house outside of my farm, say it's a Dana Point, I may put reggae on closer to the beach. But just keep it a nice mellow vibe in there, and people will appreciate it because it's very authentic. I do shopping carts. I've done them for many years now. I think I do them at Vaughn's. My spend is like $375 a month for them. It's well worth it. But unless you're truly working your farm, if you're not working a farm, don't do it. You can either, if you're not working a farm, you're better off burning the money or going on vacation with the money. But if you're actually working the farm and doing the garage sales and the movies and all that, the carts are great, because I can't tell you how many times I'm walking in my neighborhood. Oh, hey, Mike, saw you on the cart the other day. Or my clients call me and they're just laughing. You know, sometimes people on the carts will draw a mustache on there and they'll send me a photo of it. You know, it's just funny, you know, but it actually works. But it's part of your whole, everything you got going on is just a little piece of it. I do all the school sponsorship banners throughout my area, always. That's a big thing. It's free, you know. You usually like $500 to $1,000 for the year to do it, and you know, when you're on a main street, your sign's out there, it's worth it, in my opinion. Social media. So Chris is crazy, man. Like I can't even keep up with his like tech and social media stuff. I'm pretty archaic. I just have a personal Instagram and a personal Facebook. I do have a business Facebook, but if you look at it, you're going to notice I only use it when I have my movie nights or the taco nights that I want to do a Facebook boost for, because obviously you can't boost a personal. So I and part of my MO is I'm a very personal guy too. So only about 10% of my posts have anything to do with real estate. And go ahead and follow me if you want. You're going to mostly be seeing me riding dirt bikes in Mexico, riding dirt bikes in my house in Arizona, at the motocross track with my kids, my dumb dog, me eating Mexican food, and family stuff. I keep it light, bright, non-political, vanilla, but I always, if I just list something, I do just listed with a photo. I do a just sold, and I announce my events. I'm a believer of not like I don't need to say, hey, I just did 8 showings today and wrote 3 offers. I'm the busiest guy you've ever seen. My opinion, that's obnoxious. Like I can't stand that when agents do that. I don't care if you're in escrow because half the time it's going to fall out. So I just really feel like keep it simple. They know what I do, and but I don't really do ego posts on there. I don't say, oh, I just sold 32 homes in my farm this year. I did 40 million in sales and this, and that. I don't need to do that. Just show them. Just listed, just sold. And I also, those comps that I showed you, I post the comps on my Instagram, usually by the 3rd of every month as well. So I keep it simple.
Mike, your stuff is actually pretty hilarious. Like when
Yeah.
you put up, it's like I always see that, and when you talk about like virality and the algorithm and all of
Yeah.
that, like, the engagement is always like pretty hilarious. So
Yeah, I'm pretty self-deprecating, and you guys should be too, because we're just salespeople. We're not CPAs, we're not doctors. I mean, we're maybe one step below a lawyer. I'd say we're one step above a contractor, but I mean, at the end of the day, we're salespeople, right? So don't take yourself too serious. People will see right through that.
I
So
think
I'm probably coming off a little harsh, but I'm just being honest.
I think the lenders will say otherwise out here
Yeah.
too.
Oh, I haven't gotten to them yet. So where do we fit title reps in, right? But so anyways, and then announcing my events is important, but just don't sell to them on social media. Just show them what you're doing. That's it. They don't want to be sold. Just show them that you're active. That's all it is.
That's beautiful, brother. I'm gonna go next slide.
So my whole thing is for my expenses, my marketing expenses, don't let them be any more than 20% of your max GCI. Now you can adjust that quarterly. There's nothing wrong with that. If you're having an amazing year, up it. If it's you're running thin and lean, then lower it. There's ways that you can trim things. And I even, myself, I'm always adjusting I have baseline things I do, but there's some extras that I'll do if times are really good, and if times are not as good, I don't do those extras. But spend to feed your family, not your ego. Okay. So there's marketing things that we can do that, yeah, we feel great about ourselves. You look like the man, but you're taking from your family. You're not putting food on the table with that spend. So just really, really be conscious of that. We talked a bit about this, and again, community involvement. So I'm very involved with the city. We have concerts in the park 4 times a summer. I do a booth there. Chris has done this with me many times. My booths, what they have to do are I have an Easy Up branded. I do a table. I do little candies, waters. I give out free sodas out of an ice chest, and I buy the small bags of chips. I just give everything away for free. And I just do a little stack of business cards, and I don't bring up real estate unless they do. And people repeatedly, they've come to expect it from me. They know me, and it's worked out great. It's just another way of having a presence. So the concerts in the park, I do all 4 of them. I'm part of tree lighting for the city of San Juan. I actually pay for they do like a train ride through the parking lot. I sponsor that. They give me prime location to do my booth there. I'm part of the egg extravaganza with the city of San Juan, which is like the egg hunt. I sponsor that. I sponsor the 4th of July concert. And then go to the next slide. There's other stuff, and there's a lot of stuff I can't even remember. I also sponsor Little League, Pony League. I do all the school banners. I sponsor the American Legion that we talked about. The Mission San Juan Capistrano, I sponsor all their events. They have 3 concerts throughout the summer. I do their Lights Festival. I do their St. Joseph's Day kickoff for Swallows Day. I do a float in the Swallows Day parade. And then I sponsor everything for the Doheny State Beach Foundation that I'm also the vice president of.
Then I would say, I would just add as a pro tip, because I've consulted Mike, like, you know, several agents when I'm building out their business model. And if it's a lot of agents are geographic, I always say, and one question I always get asked, how do I get involved with more veterans? But this can, I think, encompass all of this. You get with your local, like, city government, your city source, like their city hall. They usually have like that's probably like the centerpiece of like what's going on with the city. And I know that you have several of those contacts within the city as well,
Yeah.
who kind of keep you updated with all that.
For sure. And to go back, if you're looking at all these line items, I have people that are on the board of directors with me, the Doheny State Beach Foundation, that are also part of the Legion. I have people at the Mission that are also part of Rotary, and it all just keeps working into itself. And then you just get referrals from that. You don't ever ask for business from them, ever.
Yeah.
Just show up, do your part. You can talk about what you do, but don't ever be salesy with any of these things. They'll come to you, and they'll appreciate that you're not jamming it down their throat. I'm also on the board of directors of the Doheny Longboard Surfing Association. I sponsor every surf contest for them. Great Opportunities, that's the organization we talked about, the kids that helped us do door drops. They're like at-risk youth in our kind of lower income part of town. And a good friend of mine, who's also part of Doheny State Beach, a retired lifeguard, he lives in that neighborhood, and he provides them free swimming lessons throughout the summer, takes them to the beach, teaches them life lessons, how to ride the bus. He had me do a presentation on how to do a job application, basically a resume. So I sat down with them. So that's kind of my community give back, but I sponsor their Christmas party and have presents at that. And I also run Toys for Tots. I've been doing that for 14 years.
And Mike, one thing that I like actually have talked about in my other classes, I've always told people to, like, with networking, because I'll get approached like, oh, like, how do you network so much? Like, how do you know how to choose? I always look at like it from within, like, what are like some interests that you genuinely have in your most authentic self? Because for me,
Surfing and dirt bikes.
yeah, exactly. Like, and I know that you didn't mention it on here, those big groups of guys you go dirt biking with.
That's a whole
And
nother animal. Yeah.
yeah, how many referrals you've had, but I'm
Yeah.
sure that you've had referrals because you authentically like to surf and you've been in that culture as well. So
Yeah.
being that your most authentic self, knowing your customer, knowing your demographics, it's a lifestyle, it's fun, you know?
Yeah.
And it doesn't really seem like work, but
Because a lot of those people have known me since I was surfing at 6 years old, you know? So yeah. Now at the end of the day, when you're farming, it's a listing focus game. And I really think that's, Chris isn't going to want to hear this from me, but to be a successful agent, listers last. You're going to get buyers as a byproduct of it, and you're going to get even better buyers. But if you focus on the listing side, and I did that from day one. I mean, it was hard. I probably could have done, I put a lot of time into getting the listings early on. I probably could have done more buyer deals early, but it set me up for even more business later on because I was put the time and energy into getting listings. So all that I care at the end of the day, like I said, I want a minimum 10% of what activity going on, sales or leases. I only care about units sold. I could care less about my average price. Some people say, what's your average price? My average price realistically is probably around 1.3, I'd say, ish. But I don't care. Like if I do the amount of transactions that I want and all I do are $400,000 condos next year, I'm stoked. Because it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's all going to work out in the end. It all works out in the end. So just really understand that. But take the lease listings. But you're going to get quality buyer leads from your listings. And, you know, I'm a bit picky on who I work with as buyers. I probably let some stuff go through the cracks. Sorry, Chris. But But I mean, he knows my MO, but the buyers that I work with are quality people. And I mean, they literally from just focusing on your farm, the buyers are going to fall in your lap 100%. Now, I'm also a big proponent of not hoarding listings, right? So yes, I have done off-market stuff. I'm doing an off-market deal right now, but take things to market. I know some agents, they want to sandbag everything and that's great, but you're losing a chance. Well, number one, to get top dollar for your client, but number two, to market yourself. That listing is an opportunity to market yourself. Take that opportunity. So that's one of my big pet peeves. So again, I want the same minimum activity, and some years are better and some are not as good. I mean, obviously, I haven't talked to anyone that had a better 23 than 22. My 22 is better. My 23 wasn't as good, but I think a lot of people will be really happy to have my 23 as their average year, you know, so the beauty of the farm is that I still got the percentage what was going on. It was a lower percent. It was a lower overall number, but it was still a good year. Consistency, and this is, I'm going to tie into Chris, but first, I'm going to be the first one to tell you, I am not the smartest person. I'm not, you know, I'm an average dude, but I'm consistent. And my neighbors comment how consistent I am. I will tell you that I may not be smarter than you, but I will work you into the ground 100%. I give you that word. I will work you into the ground. You have to have that mindset to farm. Anyone can work hard. Anyone can farm. You just got to put the work into it. And I don't care if you're on vacation, you're on your deathbed, get those cards out, make the events happen, figure out a way. That if you just say, oh, I can't do it, whatever, then don't farm. Don't even waste your time in real estate. You have to have the mindset that stuff is going to get done no matter what, at any cost, period, always. Preparation, my whole year is planned in October, usually by August, to be honest. I have every mailing date down. I have it down to what date I need to order the cards for the garage. Let's say it's the garage sale. The date I order the cards, the date I pick them up, the date I put them in the mail, the date I drop them, the date I put the banner out in front of the garage sale. I have that for the entire year done, as well as all my other marketing and events, always. I know I sent my business plan to Chris last year and he just laughed when he saw it. And then I don't use a CRM. I just use my basic Google Calendar on my phone and a simple Excel spreadsheet. And for me, that works. You know, some people need the bells and whistles, and that's great, not talking crap about it. But for me, simple is key for me. But let me go back to consistency. So I wanted to tie Chris in on this. You know, and Chris, the way I met him is he lived in my farm. And that guy cold called me for like probably a year and a half. And it's like, who the heck is this guy? To the point where I was like, I had to give in. And we met at El Campeon, one of my favorite taco places in San Juan. And, you know, his persistence and consistency in reaching out at me, he's more, I don't want to say he's more salesy. He's more of a closer, I would say, than I am. But I ended up meeting him and liking him. He's a great dude. And we're very opposite. In some ways we're similar, in other ways we're totally opposite, you know, but which is totally cool. But there's no one, I would say maybe I'm the only person that rivals Chris in consistency. He's probably the most consistent person I've ever met in this business, lending or sales, title, escrow, anything, period. So,
appreciate that. And I think I played the Latino Spanish speaking lender card on you.
Oh yeah, he laid that thick. And my wife's Mexican, so you know, we have a soft spot, but she got tired of me handing the phone over for translation. So it was easier to send it to Chris.
Thanks for supporting the Latino community, Mike.
Yeah. I'm a quarter Mexican. You can't tell, but I have a soft spot for it. So can you go back one more time to that previous slide? Okay. Yeah, we're good on that. So so running a team. Some people want to hear this, some won't. Can you guys see me? Hello? Yeah. Okay, my computer froze, so I'll just keep talking. So I'm a big proponent of running lean and mean at all times. You know, I think teams are good. but only run a team if you're truly overloaded with listing or buyer deals. If you're running a team for your ego, no one cares. Okay. So I'm able to do my business with just, I have a good TC, a good reliable lender, Cris, a good escrow company. And I use Minuteman Press and Dana Point. They do my design, printing, and mailing. They're not the cheapest. I'm probably paying a lot for them, but they get it done and they work hard for me. But you'll be surprised what your capability is of doing things without, any help. Teams are good, but don't run a team for the ego. Run it out of necessity. Can you still hear me, Cris?
I can still hear you, brother.
Okay. Can you go down the slide? Because my screen went blank for some reason. I don't want to click anything. Did I expand more upon teams on that slide? Or actually,
Yeah.
let me pull it up on my phone. Hold on one sec. Sure.
Yeah, we got design.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, you got we talked about Minuteman Press.
Yeah.
And I think something that we had just kind of talked about, like with agents, obviously there's budgets to be had, obviously when you're, planning on now, but if you want to expand a little.
Yeah. I've got it on my phone now. So again, just have a good TC, a good graphic design, printing and mailing house. And just, again, there's nothing wrong with the team, but just run it out of necessity, not ego. Now, if we go to the next slide, struggles, there are downsides to farming. The time and cost it takes to harvest the seeds that you plant. It costs money. I'm not gonna lie, and you're doing work that you're not going to see the results of for sometimes years. So just you have to have a long-term mindset. You're at the mercy of HOA decisions in some neighborhoods. Some condos, right now, as a lot of there's a lot of insurance issues, and there's some HOAs that are losing their insurance and they're unlendable right now. May not be a permanent thing, but you could have a farm that you're heavily vested in and something goes wrong, or there's a big mold issue or an assessment or whatever, and it makes it hard. So just have a positive mindset and, keep working it. There's still opportunity, but there can be challenges when you have, you're invested in something like that. Now let's talk about Sally, the hairdresser. So one of the downsides to listing is you'll get a call and they'll say, "Hey, Mike, I know you've sold like 40 homes in this neighborhood. You're the specialist. Come on over. We're thinking about selling." Great. You have an amazing listing presentation, and they'll tell you, "You are the man. You're great. You're the man. This, and that." Then they give you a call. They go, "Hey, thanks for everything, but we've decided to list with my wife's hairdresser, Sally. We just want to help her out. She's a newer agent, and we, wanted to do something good for her. But you know what? Thanks for all the information. We really appreciate it." And you find out Sally's done 0.73 deals this year. So, basically you've teed it up for Sally. So they came to you to get marketing info, pricing info, what's going on in everything info, right? So you're going to lose some deals to that. And it still ticks me off. I get irritated, but it's the nature of the beast. And so I refer to that as Sally, the hairdresser. You're going to lose deals too. And again, the work-life balance is going to be on the lower side. That's the struggles. Let's go to rewards, Cris. Are we on that?
Yep.
Okay. So now the upsides, you're gonna get leads to sales that happen outside of your farm because of your farm, and I'll get to that. Your production's going to build upon itself. It's going to be a snowball effect of what you're doing, and you can get a really well-oiled machine that you can steamroll the competition and just steamroll your business. And also you will. I've done a number of deals where I've listed homes for people that are realtors. Either their company won't let them list it themselves, which is fine. So they say, "Hey, Mike, I know you've got a lot of experience. We want you to do it." That's no problem. We take a referral fee out, list their home. It's great. I'm happy to do that all day long. There are some agents that they're allowed to, they just don't want to sell it themselves. I've done a ton of deals like that. And that's there's a lot of validation when an agent calls you to list their home. And it's really cool. It's really exciting to do. So, but talking about gaining deals outside of, let me give you an example here about being persistent. So in my farm, I had a lady who lives in my neighborhood. She called me. I've never done a deal with her, but she knows how active I am. And she said, "Hey, Mike, I'm a physical therapist. I work for a lady that has a bunch of money and she's interested in doing some flips." Now, number one, I don't really like to work with flippers. And I don't, always like some really high net worth people are just a pain in the butt to work with. But I knew that this person that referred me was nice. So I went on the appointment. I went into her $14 million bluffront home in Dana Point. And she said, "Hey, like, I got some money. We want to do some flips." And I said, "Look, if you're willing to do line drives, I'm your guy. If you want to hit home runs, you need to call someone else." And so to this day, I've done about $13 million worth of deals with this lady and sold her homes, and then we roll them over. She does it for fun and basically for sport. She doesn't need the money. Her husband manages pension funds. She does quite well. She has an account with about $3 million in it that I just kind of advise her on what we want to do. Now, I'm very protective of her, so I only lead her into anything that's a slam dunk. But she's become a great person. I've made, multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars off of her. And that was from someone I've never done business with, just lives on my farm and referred me someone outside. All right. Now, persona, next slide. At the end of the day, just be yourself. This is me, hat, casual shirt, jeans, Vans. I drive a lifted F-250. At an open house, I'm going to wear this or maybe a Hawaiian shirt, and just keep it casual. And that's my area. Now, there's some other areas where you probably need to be more formal. Just be the judge of where you live. That's all. Now, just to the last slide, the biggest things I could say are always have a multi-year outlook and just smile. Smile a lot and be happy in your farm. It'll go a long way. Trust me. But also, I want to touch upon one other thing, and this really doesn't have to do with farming. This is just our industry. But support your brokers, right? Our brokers work really hard to keep the doors open for us. For me, I use our broker-owned escrow. Number one, they're good. I wouldn't use them if they weren't, but that's a way that I'm really able to support my broker. But just be supportive of your companies. It is a tougher time for everyone. And even at the best of times, it's not easy being a broker, but whatever you can do to support them, by all means, do it. So that's about it. So unless people have questions or whatever, that's just really my take on farming.
Yeah, well, I want to open it up. If anybody has any questions, if you want to put in the chat, we'll hang out here for a couple minutes. Or if anyone wants to unmute, feel free to do so. Mike, this has been an incredible conversation. And we had it scheduled for an hour, but we punched through an hour and 20. So
yeah, sorry it took so long.
My video guy is gonna hate on this with how much editing you have to do, but
yeah.
This was phenomenal. And I think even more than just a real estate class, this was a good business class. And it encompasses just so many just sales and authenticity, the psychology of that goes into all of this. And you even touched upon like the good affiliates, and I'm trying to toot my horn here, but like
be loyal. Be loyal. I mean,
Yeah.
loyalty goes a long way. And again, there's a company and a person, and everyone has what works for them. But just be loyal in this. Don't try to be on the take all the time. It doesn't work out in the end. That's all I can really say about that.
We're getting some comments here on the chat. That was a great class. Thank you, Rick, for joining our NOFL as well.
And I just want to reiterate, Chris, that my number's on there and it's in the MLS. Any of these people are welcome to call me anytime, text me, email me, whatever, and I'm happy to chat. Again, it's just a pay it forward thing because people were extremely good to me when I started. However, the only thing I ask is that if you ever have referrals that you don't want to deal with down here in South County, I'm happy to do them for you. And if you want to send me your info, because I may have I do get referrals for, like LA and Riverside and stuff that I'm not really going to deal with. So if we could network a little bit, that'd be super awesome.
Absolutely. And,
I have a question.
yes, go ahead, Dolly.
If you're starting out, is there a percentage that you recommend we spend on the marketing? Because I don't know how much would be like too much or too little or.
Well, I mean, are you starting out in the industry period, or just you're active but adding a farm to what you do?
I have business, but it's all scattered, so I don't have
Yeah.
an actual farm.
Okay. I mean, it's up to you. It's what budget you can. So only spend that you can spend it. If you spend it and you don't make a penny off of it, that you'll be good through the entire year.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think you did
Yeah,
have
makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah.
and I think you did have a slide there that you spend about 20% of your GCI on.
Yeah, that's my rule of thumb.
That's the rule of thumb. Thank you for that, Dahlia. Dahlia, thank you for joining. Yeah, Rick asked, will there be a copy of this deck to download? I'll be the only agent wearing Vans in El Paso, Texas.
Awesome, dude. Yeah.
No, yes.
Chris can send it to you. You have
Yeah,
it,
my
Chris, right?
plan, yeah, my plan is this, guys, because I know there's been some repeat attendees. My video guy's attending this, he's recording it. My plan is to upload this to YouTube, upload it also onto the audio into Spotify. And if you're getting my texts and my emails already, I'm gonna include the PDF. So we're planning on PDF, YouTube, and the Spotify audio recording. So yes, Rick, you will get a copy of this, brother. Anybody else? Anybody want to unmute really quick before we wrap up? I think that's it, Mike. Well,
Cool.
thank you guys for joining Mike again. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule to do this.
Yeah.
And my ask to everybody who joined, if you have another agent who would possibly benefit from this, please reach out to me directly. I can send you the PDF. And once we get the YouTube and everything going, and then please just tell them, hey, on a monthly basis, hey, Chris, I wanna like come and I can teach these classes in person too. We obviously can't bring Mike back in, but we have a way that we could teach some of these methods as well. But I'd love for you guys to spread the word. We're having these monthly. This is our 4th class. And we bring a variety, and our real focus is lead generation on how to do. We're not going to be preaching rates. We're not going to be preaching products. I think you guys got enough of that from me. And these are specifically for how to grow your business. And we're building a community here. You guys feel free to reach out. Rick, you asked for Mike's Instagram. I actually want to say it out loud. It's Carne Asada 81. So
Carne _ Asada 81.
81.
Yeah,
Yes.
you know where my priorities are when you hear that. So I'll tell you what, giving people free tacos has made me a lot of commissions in the business. Just always remember that.
Yeah, it's just it's unbelievable like how many events have just surrounded that. But thank you guys for joining, Mike. Once again, thank you guys,
Yeah.
and look forward to our next event. And just as a reminder, guys, I'm gonna put a plug here. We got casino night coming up at the American Legion in Newport Beach. It's gonna be with VA Rep, so that's gonna be our next marquee event. That's gonna be on February 29th. You'll see my emails if you guys want some more information. You want to play some poker? We got Texas Hold'em, we got roulette and blackjack. It's gonna be a black tie event, real James Bond. Mike, maybe you can make a celebrity appearance out there. You guys will be seeing us at your local broker previews, I'm sure. Just come and help support veterans. And yeah, we'll see you guys next month. Thank you for everyone who joined.
Have a good one, everyone.